Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion. But
the WNBA is in serious financial trouble as Caitlin Clark remains off the court. She was the driving force behind the league's recent rise in popularity, yet they've failed to protect her. Despite her impact, the league keeps repeating the same mistakes. With their biggest stars sidelined, they're losing millions every day by refusing to face the truth.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In today's world of fake drama and online noise, real facts are hard to find, just like sold-out WNBA games without Caitlin Clark. When she went down with a quad injury on May 24th, it became clear just how much the league depends on her. Now, with another groin injury and no return date in sight, we're watching the same pattern repeat itself.
That injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
Nationally televised WNBA viewership has dropped by a shocking 55%, with games featuring the Indiana Fever falling 53%, from an average of 1.81 million viewers with Caitlin Clark to just 847,000 without her. And here's where things go from bad to worse, because this steep decline was entirely predictable for a league that still refuses to learn from its past mistakes.
Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was out there selling out arenas, breaking TV records, and bringing in record revenue, the WNBA did what it always seems to do, nothing to protect her. Despite the fact that she drives over 26.5% of the league's entire revenue, they've allowed opponents to go after her freely, all while giving speeches about what's considered a basketball play.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
What's especially frustrating is that this exact situation has happened before, and the WNBA still hasn't learned. Every time their biggest star gets injured, ratings and revenue take a huge hit. It's like watching someone burn their hand on a hot stove, then turn around and do it again, acting surprised by the outcome.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone to.
If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe. The financial collapse has been fast and brutal. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games have dropped by 71%, with some falling from $860 to just $250. Across the games Caitlin Clark missed, average ticket prices plunged from $1,370 to only $80, a massive drop that shows exactly who's driving fan interest. Games that were moved to larger arenas to meet Clark-driven demand are now struggling to fill seats. The highly anticipated rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Fever saw ticket prices fall from $210 to $95. This was the same matchup that once pulled in 2.25 million viewers, one of the most watched WNBA games ever. Without Clark, it's just another game fans aren't excited to watch.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA has successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Christine Brennan, a respected sports journalist and author of the upcoming book on her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, has been one of the loudest voices calling out the WNBA's poor treatment of its biggest star. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment, she wrote after another incident where Clark was clearly targeted on the court. Brennan pointed out that more people are watching the league than ever, and this is what they're seeing. Her criticism hits hard. The WNBA has clear data showing that Clark brings in over half of the league's TV audience, yet they still let her take unnecessary hits and rough fouls meant to shake her up. It's like a restaurant letting customers bully the one chef keeping the place alive.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour, or whatever the circuit is that they play on, than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is unlike anything we've seen in sports. Tiger Woods changed golf, and Michael Jordan affected NBA ratings, but even their absences didn't cause a collapse like this. You can argue, and many do, that no athlete is more vital to their league than Clark is to the WNBA. The pattern is now painfully clear. Clark gets hit with hard fouls by players more focused on sending a message than playing the game. Of the 30 flagrant fouls called in the 2024 season, 5 were against her, and the Chicago Sky committed 80% of those. When she pushes back, she's called too aggressive. When she doesn't, she's called soft. It's a lose-lose situation created by the league, and they're still doing nothing about it. Meanwhile, the financial damage keeps getting worse, not just for the Indiana Fever, but for the whole WNBA. The league was already expected to lose $50 million this year, even with Clark's massive popularity boost. With her sidelined, those losses are growing fast, as TV ratings crash, merchandise sales drop, and arena attendance falls back to where it was before Clark arrived.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
The most troubling part of all this is that it could have been avoided. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as a respectful, team-focused rookie. At just 22, she handled pressure, criticism, and attention with more maturity than many veterans. The league had a golden opportunity. They could have supported her, protected her, and used her rise to lift the sport as a whole. Instead, They let jealousy and internal politics ruin what could have been a huge win for women's basketball. Clark's injury doesn't just hurt TV ratings or ticket sales, it's shaking confidence across the board. Major sponsors who invested millions because of Clark's impact are now second-guessing if it was worth it. And that exposes a deeper issue with the WNBA's identity. The league seems stuck between wanting to be a serious pro sports organization and chasing online drama to stay relevant. But you can't have both. Real leagues protect their stars and keep the game fair. Drama clubs stir up nonsense and hope someone's watching.
The thing I admire about Caitlyn, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players, you don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The difference between the WNBA and other major sports leagues is shocking, and honestly, embarrassing. Imagine the NBA letting players go after LeBron James with cheap shots for months, all while calling it just part of the game. The league would shut it down immediately, hand out suspensions, and make sure it never happened again, but in the WNBA, this dangerous pattern continues unchecked. It's as if the league thinks any kind of attention is good attention. Their failure to protect Caitlin Clark has created a toxic atmosphere. Now, many fans are saying they won't even watch other games because they've lost faith in the league's fairness. When your own audience says they're done watching because they don't believe the games are being called fairly, it's no longer just about ratings or money. It's a full-blown credibility crisis.
The cleanup, I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabry. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves. Because the numbers are gonna drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
What makes this even more frustrating is that the WNBA had plenty of chances to fix things, and blew every one of them. Every incident involving Caitlin Clark should have pushed the league to set clear rules about player safety and fair competition. Instead, they keep giving the same old excuses about basketball plays and letting players play. The truth is, Clark's injury, the very thing the league should have worked to prevent, has become the strongest proof of just how valuable she is. A 55% drop in viewership isn't a small dip. It's a red flag. Yet even with this obvious data, the league still acts like nothing's wrong. Officials keep talking about competitive balance and physical play, as if cheap shots and dirty fouls are part of what makes the game exciting. Worse, they blow up routine plays involving Clark while brushing off the dangerous ones targeting her. It's a double standard that's impossible to ignore.
Every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA, I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She's going for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
The solution to this crisis isn't complex, but it does demand tough choices. If the WNBA wants to be respected as a real professional league, it needs to start acting like one. That means setting clear rules to protect players, and actually enforcing them. It means focusing on the game, not the drama created online. Most importantly, it means protecting the stars who bring in fans, fill seats, and boost TV ratings. The ongoing drop in viewership, ticket sales, and revenue without Caitlin Clark is a clear warning. Without her, the league is sliding back to where it was, half-empty arenas and games barely anyone watched. This season, WNBA games without Clark averaged just 555,000 viewers, even lower than last year's 670,000. If nothing changes, the league risks falling right back into the shadows.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. Thousands of kids
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they
Caitlin
wearing?
Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
Wherever she played. It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just it was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it wasn't what we were. It wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled. Right. And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
The saddest part of all this is that it didn't have to turn out this way. With the right support and promotion, the WNBA could have used Caitlin Clark's rise to build something strong and lasting. Instead, they built a fragile setup that falls apart the moment she's not playing. Until the league starts protecting and backing the players who actually bring fans in, they'll keep going through the same cycle, a quick rise when one star shines, followed by a crash when she's gone. The real question now is, will the WNBA finally wake up and protect its biggest asset, or will it keep repeating the same mistakes until the chance Clark gave them is completely wasted? Based on how things have gone so far, don't bet on them suddenly figuring it out.